What's up? It's your boy, Mr. J. here, back with another episode with my guy, the man, the myth, the legend, my big homie, Attorney Ken Harris. What's up, man?
What's up, Jay, man? A great week, great opportunity to be back in that black court with you, my brother, man.
Snap my hands itching.
Man, give me some of that right there, man. And so happy to be here with you, man, and excited. And hey, man, it's time to get it on, man. I've been waiting since last week, man. It's time to get this thing going, man. We got some information for the people out here, dog.
How you been doing, man? You good? You have a good week so far?
Doing good, man. Shout out to my beautiful wife, Felicia.
What's up, Fee?
Christian Sid. How's your family doing, man?
Man, everybody's good, man. My son, he is taking his black belt test on Saturday.
And gonna smoke them too, dog.
10 years old, man.
Smoke 10 years old. He gonna handle his business.
Yeah, man. So prayerfully, hopefully, man, my guy gets his black belt.
Oh man, don't even worry about that. He gonna snap some backs. He gonna snap some backs this
man.
weekend.
So we all week. That's all we've been doing is practicing. And he had a written test last week.
Yeah.
He passed that. So it's green, what they call it, green light game. It's all points go to Saturday to see what's up.
He gonna handle business, man. I tried karate when I was little.
Oh, did you?
I didn't have that in me, man. I wasn't good. Now coming out of them karate movies,
yeah.
I thought I was the man then.
He was what's my man name? What's the not Leroy, but
Jim Kelly.
Him, yeah, that's
Jim Kelly. What, Bruce Lee back in the day?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, man.
Black Belt Jones? Yeah, I used to come out of the movie, man, thinking I was a bomb, man.
Yeah,
but that didn't work. Once you got back in the neighborhood and got in the fight, it didn't work, man.
Yeah, it didn't kind of formulate like it did in your mind
when
you got in a real fight. It was weird how that worked.
I remember one time, man, diverging. I was playing basketball on a court outside of a dorm at Chapel Hill.
Yeah.
And, I thought at Chapel Hill, man, I felt like, since it was a predominantly white school.
Mm-hmm. PWI.
I'm from Fayetteville.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got the little thug thing going on campus, So everybody came from Fayetteville,
Oh, snap.
So, it's the kind of, when he come down the court, walking down the, on the yard, you might want to give Ken a little room when he walk, Man, we were playing basketball, and I got in an argument with one of the guys on the other team, who actually was a good friend of mine. I can't remember the dude's name, but he's,
that good of a friend,
brother. We were really good.
Cool.
We were in a band together and all that, man. We had this little band called Members Only Band. We were in that together. Just a real great guy. And so, because he was a nice guy, I misinterpreted it. I didn't know he knew karate.
Mm.
So when we started arguing, I was like, I'm gonna go ahead, because a lot of people out there, I'm gonna go ahead and hit him.
Yeah.
And just keep that thing going with K. Harris from Fayetteville.
Yeah.
But I went to hit him, and he spun as I was gonna hit him. And he I don't know how he got his foot that high. He got his foot so high he kicked me in my face.
What?
Knocked me down in front of everybody.
Oh my God.
Everybody on the yard, everybody out there playing ball and everything. Knocked me down, cut my eye. So I'm bleeding now.
What year was this?
This was my sophomore year after I had pledged. Right?
Okay,
so
okay.
I'm bleeding now, but now
goodness.
you can't, you get kicked in the eye, you can't just leave and bleed. So I kept playing. Man, somebody went and called my girlfriend, man. She called. She cried. I'm like, man, what in the world, man? I had to go to the hospital, man. It was a hot, man. I don't know how I lived that down, man. But that karate, that karate can get you, man.
Man,
Lil J got something.
Yeah, I think they get triggered too, man. Like they teach them to chill and try not to do anything, but man, when they get attacked, I just think a switch hits and they just kind of go into a move or something, man.
I didn't even see his foot. It was like I was gonna swing on him, and then his foot. I just got kicked in the face. It was just like that, man.
Listen. If that was just somebody from the hood, I might feel bad. But if somebody been trained in karate and they a grown man in college, you just gotta chalk that one up.
Yeah, that's what I did too. Man. I did too. I saw him on the bus one. Yo, boy, what's up?
Kappa should have jumped him though.
They would have, but we
Yeah.
didn't go like that. That was mano a mano. You have to, if you chalk that one up to a loss, man.
You didn't throw up the light. You didn't throw up no signs.
I didn't throw up the bat signal.
Oh, okay, all right, cool.
I don't even know why I went there, man, but I just brought up that memory, man.
Okay, all right.
So, Lil J, good luck on the karate stuff, man. Handle your business.
Man, thank you for that. All right, we got some good legal topics to talk about today, man. You ready for them?
I'm ready, man.
All right, you want me to tell you about the first one?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so man, I'm chilling, checking out YouTube, man. No, matter of fact, I'm looking on Instagram, and I see that there's this cop. Come to find out, it's a sheriff.
Yeah,
and there's this video is showing him standing like at the front of a bus. Like you had the stairs on the bus or whatever, like a charter bus. And he has this southern drawl, and he's, saying, hey, I want to tell y'all why we stopped you. And we looking for drugs and marijuana. We're going to go through y'all's luggage. And he goes on, and come to find out it's the Delaware State Lacrosse Team. And so let me read this real quick. A college women's lacrosse team feels traumatized after a charter bus was stopped by police while traveling through Georgia, an incident that has left the school's president incensed. The Delaware State University women's lacrosse team was traveling north on I-95, the infamous I-95 in Liberty County, Georgia, which is southwest of Savannah. So this was right outside of Savannah. You ever been to Savannah?
Oh yeah, many times.
This was back on April 20th. The Hornets, meaning the Delaware State Hornets, were returning home after playing their final game of the season at Stetson University in DeLand, Florida, back on April. And so, like I said, in this situation, they said the sheriff said he pulled the bus over because, and Ken, you got to help me on some of this, bro. He pulled the bus over because the bus was in the left lane on a highway, right, and that a bus is not supposed to be in the left lane. That's why he stopped it. Yeah. Now, I watched a couple of interviews, and the head coach for Delaware State's lacrosse team said that he stopped. He talked to the driver, got the driver's registration, driver's license, pulled him off the bus, talked to him, and then one of the student athletes noticed that they were pulling bags from underneath the bus, and then that's when they were trying to figure out what was going on. And then where this video picks up is they asked him what was going on, and he came in to tell them, hey, we're looking for drugs.
It's tough because that whole incident reeks of racial profiling.
Okay. Okay, that's what I want to hear from Attorney Ken Harris today. All right.
But that doesn't mean that there was anything done illegally or necessarily improperly.
Okay.
But what a shame.
Yeah.
Now, the first question I continue to have is whether or not the stop in itself was appropriate, because the officer said that the driver of the bus improperly moved into the left lane and should not have been in the left lane. Now, the driver moved into the left of the 3 lanes in order to pass someone.
Okay.
And he pointed that out to the officer. The driver also pointed out that the sign related to not being in the left lane says no trucks. And what the officer tried to do was say that the bus was akin to a truck.
Okay.
So the first question I have is whether or not the stop was proper to begin with. It may have been, because the officer tried to explain because of the size of the vehicle and whatever, it was akin to a truck. I don't know the answer to that. But this invasion of privacy that took place, to me, was absolutely disrespectful and horrible. And the other thing is, just because you have power doesn't mean you use it. There are appropriate times to do things. And the question is not whether or not the search of their items was pursuant to police procedure and protocol. we may not ever get anywhere with that argument.
Mm-hmm.
The question may be whether or not they treated these young ladies and this driver differently than they would have someone else because they were mostly black. And that's where I think the problem may be. I think if the journey is to try to prove that these officers somehow did something illegal or improper, that may not yield results. But did they profile? Did they treat this group of young ladies, female athletes, excellent young ladies? Because let me tell you something. The way these young ladies handled that incident was with class and dignity and respect.
You get the shirts,
Hey,
dog.
look, for real. I'm talking about like somebody needs to go pull them aside and give them an award for the way they carried themselves in that incident, because it was absolutely magnificent. And even the driver of the bus carried himself with class. It's an absolute shame what happened.
Man, it's so funny, Ken. You and I have been friends for over a decade now. And, when we first met, I think the Michael Brown case in St. Louis happened. I think it was Michael Brown, right? And I know this is a little different, but, there's been many cases that have happened since I've known you. And what you've helped me understand is that there's a difference in, something being quote unquote, morally wrong, offensive, disrespectful, versus something being illegal or out of, beyond the law, or something that somebody did that was improper. And it took me a while to be able to understand that and separate those two things. I do want to say to you about, it is funny, they did handle themselves, those young ladies handled themselves very well. I think the coach said there's about 30 people on the bus, 25 players, I think 2 assistant coaches, trainers, and all of that. The young lady that took the video, you would have thought that it was a professional camera. I mean, it didn't move. It zoomed in on the sheriff. It was very clear. They were all quiet. And so it's just, for me, Ken, it just seems like another situation where authority figures, specifically law enforcement, can use the law to just do what they want to do, man.
It was interesting that the spokesperson for the deputies, or the sheriff that was involved, I believe the actual sheriff of the municipality is black.
He is.
And so he came out and he stated that he didn't feel like anything had been done improperly, which was very interesting. It was kind of a surprise, I'm sure, to everyone that he ended up being an African American. But the other thing we've always talked about is getting home.
Yep.
And we had a Get Home initiative.
Yep.
Because I represent a lot of cases involving African Americans who have police interactions.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, we've had cases where African Americans have had police interactions and they passed away.
Yeah.
And as a result of those interactions. So we always talk about the importance of not litigating that situation on the side of a highway. And this was the exact circumstance we always talk about. The driver and the young ladies decided that this was not the place to protest and go off and be mad and be angry. They were going to act with class and dignity, even though the officers, in many ways, we could say, were acting in a way that was not consistent with those high principles.
Mm-hmm.
And they got home, and then now we can start diving into whether or not what the officers did was proper. So just a perfect example of keeping your composure, getting through the situation, getting home, and then being able to litigate the issue in court or otherwise afterwards.
There's a point in the video where the sheriff says, hey, if you have anything, it's best to let us know right now.
Drugs.
You have drugs or any device,
Yeah.
quote unquote, like, allegedly like a vape cartridge or something like that, or paraphernalia, to let us know now. If we find something and you don't tell us now, we can't help you. And there was an incident. There was one thing that did happen that could have been triggering to your point, that no one got upset and was getting protested. Yeah, there was a gift that one of the young ladies got from a family member, I guess, from her aunt. That, you know how you go to these different towns, you have family somewhere and they come see you at a game, where apparently they gave her a gift and she had not opened it yet. And so they got the gift out of her luggage, got back on the bus and said, you know, whose is this? And they asked, and he said, hey, mine. And then he said, what is this? And he's like, it's a gift, bro. And he's like, well, what is it? And he's like, I don't know, it's a gift. And he's like, how you get you mean to tell me you got a gift and you don't know what's in it? You don't know what it is? Like, no, I ain't open it. They get off the bus, the sheriffs that is, open it, Ken.
Very disrespectful. But let me tell you something else that shows some progress. All of this was caught on a body cam. Mm-hmm. And boy, isn't it great? And I've had, you know, I handled one of the cases that has kind of led to or stimulated, you know, the progression of body cam. Mm-hmm. I've got a case right now involving the U.S. Marshal's Office, and now we're trying to see if we can't create a situation where U.S. Marshals have to wear body cams.
Wow.
But isn't it great that now we are in a society where officers have to wear, in many cases, body cam?
Yeah.
And so we can see what really happened.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine all those times in the past where African Americans in particular had police interactions and there was no evidence or video?
Ken, you talking about the last 10 to 12 years where we have cameras on phones that's good enough to capture stuff.
Yeah. Before that, you had the officer's story and the other person's story. Mm-hmm. And the inclination is to always side with what the officer says.
Yep.
And so you had a lot of bad interactions out there. So I'm glad it didn't turn into something that we didn't want to see. I'm glad that the driver and the young ladies acted appropriately. Mm-hmm. And we'll see what happens in terms of, you know, any admonishment or repercussions related to the officers. But I'm just glad it didn't turn into something else.
Well, you know, I have to ask. First, let me say they found nothing. They didn't find anything in anyone's luggage. So that's, you know, do with that what you will. You know, I have to ask, can they sue? What type of, you know, I guess reciprocity can this team get for the situation happening?
I'm not really seeing a cause of action here. And then even if there was, then the question becomes, well, what is their damage? Mm-hmm. How were they damaged in this? I mean, some may claim that they have some type of emotional reaction to what happened, but I'm just not seeing where there would be a big claim here. I think the bigger issue is just from a moral standpoint, was this the right thing to do? And I don't think it was.
Yeah, man. Last thing on this, man, me growing up and, listening to hip hop, I-95 was always mentioned in rap songs about
corridor.
Corridor. that was if you were doing anything illegal, please do not go down I-95, bro. So
yeah. You know, an officer tried to say, you'd be surprised what we see, but on a bus full of women lacrosse players, come on, man. I mean, come on. Yeah, ease up on that.
All right. So we good on that?
We good on that,
man. All right, man. Prayers and our thoughts are with everyone with the Delaware State Lacrosse Team. Now we got to get
prayers, thoughts, and props.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Business on that. Yeah.
All right, man. You know, that was a little appetizer on your legal expertise. Now we got to get to the big boy talk.
Okay.
All right. The big story of this week. Two of the biggest rappers in the world, Young Thug and Gunna, arrested on RICO charges in Atlanta. They went up into, I'm just going to read the case. Let's start there. The popular rapper Young Thug was arrested in Atlanta on Monday and faces a slew of accusations from Fulton County's district attorney, including that he was allegedly a founder and active leader of the violent Young Slime Life, YSL, street gang. The 80-page indictment charges both Young Thug and another rapper, Gunna, with gang-related crimes, and includes more than 25 others who have allegedly participated in YSL gang activity. The New York Times also reported that the lawyer for Young Thug, whose legal name is Jeffrey Williams, said that YSL is not a street gang, and claimed that the indictment was baseless and including him. Ken. Now, the crazy thing about this one is that a lot of, let me start here. The district attorney in Atlanta said that 75 to 80% of the crimes happening in Fulton County, which is where the city of Atlanta is, happens by street gangs. And that when she was elected, that was her number one thing, is to be aggressive with getting them off the street. They said that this indictment covers from 2012 up to 2022. This is a RICO charge. So people are trying to understand, like, what is a RICO charge and why is this associated with a gang activity? And then we also want to get on to the First Amendment element of this as well. So can you help us understand RICO?
Well, not being a criminal attorney, I don't do RICO work or anything like that. We do have criminal attorneys that do that. But my understanding is that it relates primarily to an ongoing criminal enterprise. And that's what gives you the elevated sentencing if you're found guilty of these types of charges. But, I think the thing that I always hear is that if you're indicted and subject to a RICO type of situation, that the penalties for that could be very, very significant. I did have an opportunity to listen to some of the initial discussion by the defense attorney. I believe they have one of the top defense attorneys in that area, because the judge was very respectful. They went to an initial hearing and tried to ask for bond. The magistrate wouldn't engage that. And then they had a second hearing, I think Mr. Williams, and did get a judge to discuss the bond issue, but bond was ultimately denied. But
Thugger, for everybody else that don't know his real name again. Yeah,
it just sounds like it's a really tough situation. I think the defense attorney is already setting up an argument that all the other people who were in the home during the time that this interaction with the police took place and the arrest took place, that those were the people who apparently owned the drugs and the guns or the gun or the guns that were found in the home, and that his client was not in possession of those items. Even though I think this wasn't didn't the police raid his home?
So they raided Young Thug's home, right? So I think what you're talking about is, because Young Thug, there's 56 counts against all of these individuals. Thugger, or Mr. Williams, Young Thug, that's both of his names, has an additional 7 charges, and that might be what you're talking about. They added
the 7. Yeah. Initially, his attorney was arguing that he only had 2 charges, 2 of the 56 charges, but I think they added 7. So
So when I watched the press conference with the district attorney, one of the things, the questions that was asked was, hey, when you look at these conspiracy charges as it relates to RICO, you have dude, it was several songs, several lyrics that she was saying, hey, in this lyric, he says that I, quote unquote, allegedly shot him in front of his mama, and then went back to a case where an individual was allegedly shot in front of his mom. And so my question to you is, because there's a lot of discussion from attorneys and legal experts saying, that the state has a heavy burden of proof as it relates to trying to say we can use lyrics from songs to try to match that in a case and prove that somebody did something.
I mean, it's hard to imagine someone memorializing their criminal activities in a song. I mean, that could come back and haunt you. So
we got to have a discussion about that.
It may be possible in this case. I know they've got a lot more than those lyrics, because you're talking about indictments. You're talking about them presenting information and evidence to a grand jury in secret, and that grand jury reviewing the evidence and returning the indictments and saying that there's enough evidence here that these individuals should, face prosecution for these charges. So it's not just based on those lyrics. And you just wonder, the sense I got in listening to the request for bond is that there's a lot of evidence here.
Yeah.
And so that may be bad news for Mr. Williams. I don't know.
Yeah.
You just have to wait and see how it all plays out. But I do think it's a smart move that his attorney makes to say, yeah, but I mean, he laid it out. He said, my client has performed on every continent in this world, other than Antarctica. That's what he said. And he said, my client is just coming back, I think he said from Norway or Sweden. He's going to make the argument, my client didn't have to engage in a conspiracy to make money or intimidate people. He wouldn't risk that because he's already making a ton of money. He said he's performed in front of 300,000 fans at one time. That's what he's setting up. He's setting up an argument that you got the wrong guy. Now, maybe some of the people that were hangers on around my client were engaged in some of those activities. Then he's going to say he's a wonderful guy. He tried to discourage them from doing that. He tried to get them to elevate their game, move out of that type of scenario. And he was in the process of doing that. Then they came and arrested them all.
Yeah. So
that's what he's going to do.
So, yeah, you're talking about Young Thug. He's been, an artist a little longer than Gunna. Gunna, though, is arguably the hottest rapper in music right now. Pushin' P, I don't know if you heard somebody say that's P or the song Pushin' P. That's his song with Young Thug. There's also
I'm on Luther Vandross and people like that, man.
I feel you.
I haven't heard any of these guys.
I know, but I just I'm leading up to something. They said that that Gunna had just left the Met Gala. So to your point, that
Fresh Prince.
To your point, they're saying like, yo, these are some of the most not powerful, but popular rappers and musicians in the world. Like you said, they may not have time to be dealing with folks or whatever. But here's what the district attorney, I thought was interesting that they talked about. They're talking about, and Ken, I really got to talk to you about this because I've been concerned about this for a really long time. Banging on wax, gang signs in music videos, gang signs on touring stages, gang signs or gang language on social media, in videos and stuff. So the culture is responding and saying, see, you shouldn't be posting all this stuff on social media. You shouldn't be letting, if you're going to be doing crime or you doing certain things, you shouldn't be doing all this stuff in social media. I'll stop there. So I guess, let me pose it as a question. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's strange to me.
Okay.
Because that's in a large part why some of the people buy the music.
True.
I mean, so you can't encourage it and appreciate it and buy it and then turn around when something goes wrong and say don't do it. I mean, that's some of the allure relative to the popularity of some of these artists. So, I mean, I get it. Now that it's gone wrong, you're going to say you shouldn't have done it, but, you get millions of people encouraging it and buying it. So, I mean, that's just the way it is.
Okay, cool. But I think, but we're at a time where we're coming off Tekashi 6ix9ine, his music, his lyrics and his music, and the gang that he was representing in that music. Those gang members have gotten a lot of time through his affiliation with him, through cases that actually happened, not what he said in music, but cases that happened where they had evidence on it. So people are wondering, so this is kind of my question, my legal question to you is, are we at the evolution of music and lyrics and what you do on social media and you being an artist and saying, hey, I've heard Jay-Z talk about, there's this thing about 92 bricks that he lost one time. You know what I mean? Like, that's urban legend as relates to him. But are we at a point now where lyrics are going to be used? They trying to use them against rappers right now.
Well, they're only trying to use it if it looks like that's what you did. I mean, it's not just a rapper. I mean, if you're a criminal and you videotape yourself talking about you just did something, I mean, they're going to use that against you.
But the lines are, but I think that's the thing about hip hop, Ken, that the lines are very blurred, that you have rappers who have not done a lick of crime, i.e. people would say allegedly that Tekashi 6ix9ine was not a real gang member. He was what's the word? He was extorted by a gang and used by a gang. And so that's how he was able to get out of jail, because he snitched on him. So I guess what I'm saying is, you have people who will fake that they're thugs online and in music. You have people who are really thugs and talking about what they do in music. So how can you use music against someone? Or can you? Maybe there is just something that they're not going to be able to do.
I'll say the same thing again. If you did those things and then you turn around in music and you memorialize your activities, just like anybody who memorializes their criminal activity in a comment or an admission or a confession, that's a statement against interest, and that is admissible in court. So, I agree that there may be some artists who say that they've done things and it's not true. I'm just talking about the people who are putting what they did in a song or a video, and they did do it. That's not a smart thing to do, because if in fact the authorities can correlate your statements in any context with your with allegations against you, they're going to do that. So it just depends on how smart the person is.
Like, meaning the rapper.
Yeah, you just never want to be in a situation where you do that. Now, like I said, there's an inertia in the music industry. There's a momentum in the music industry that I hate to acknowledge it, but sometimes you get sales by saying you did something. Either you did it or you didn't.
No, that's the culture. That's it. That's exactly how it is.
So there's some momentum to do that. But the problem is, if you're putting things out there and it correlates to real criminal activity, to expect that the district attorney is not going to use that, I don't think that's going to happen. They're always going to use it if they can find it and correlate it with what you actually did or what they're alleging that you did.
Okay, well, let me ask you this then, and I'm not trying to be combative. I'm just trying to understand. Well, wouldn't that open the door for just any attorney or district attorney to say, okay, well, I heard this rapper say this, that, and the third on the record about what he did?
No, it doesn't work that way. They're not doing that. They're not listening to music and saying so-and-so said something over here, so we're going to charge them with it. They're saying we've got evidence of things that they've done, and in addition to that evidence, they said this on a song. That's what she's doing. That's not the core evidence in the case. That's corroborative evidence, additional evidence that may prove up the allegation. So, no, they're not like scanning the internet and because somebody said A, B, C, and D, then they go arrest you. That's not how it works. It's if you have evidence against you that you did a crime over here, and they go out and they get witness statements, they've got physical evidence, they've got confessions from other parties. You hate to use the word snitches, but other snitches saying you did A, B, C, and D.
Informants.
And on top of that, you've got a song that also acknowledges, or where you're saying you did it. That's a confession. That's a statement against interest. That's why you don't do those things, because that, in addition to the other evidence, can create a situation where there's enough evidence to convict you. So, you never want to tell a criminal to be smart, but you don't want to pile the evidence up against you if you committed a crime. And one way to do that, whether it's in a song or not, is to do a video saying you did something. And so that's all that is, Yeah.
Well, with you, and, of course, I'll lean to your expertise on that. It's just, there's a lot of scuttlebutt, whether it be, amongst the culture and in media having a discussion, as well as, legal folks like yourself having a discussion about, how this affects the First Amendment right. And to your point, I've heard a lot of people say, it is a lot to prove. It basically is like, what you're saying is that it's almost like the lyrics are they have like water to all the ingredients that you got to mix up together for this to work or to build something.
And it's not even water; it's just salt on top of your meat. It's not the main thing.
Okay.
So that's why I don't think there's a First Amendment issue here. I mean, you can go on and say what you want. Now, if you say you committed, if you start giving out facts about a crime you committed, you got every right to say that.
Okay.
But then when you get to court, you can't sit there and cry when they play it for the jury. You said that. And so nobody's going to stop you from doing that. Nobody's going to say you don't have a right to do that. Nobody's going to say we've chilled your right to do that. We're saying when you say things just like any person who is indicted or charged, those statements against your interests can be used in court.
I'm sorry.
That's it.
Last thing, we just talked about, the Delaware State team, the sheriffs using the laws as it relates to, what a bus can do as far as getting into a lane or not, getting into a lane and improperly changing lanes or whatever, right? Using the technicalities of that law to stop the bus and then try to find something on the bus by going through the luggage. I think what a lot of people are thinking about right now is that, you have lyrics that in a culture where, you're talking about what you used to do or what you did or what you want to do or what you thought about doing in a rap song will open the door for law enforcement to start pursuing people and targeting people because of their lyrics. And so
let me give you an example.
Okay.
If you got somebody who goes out and strangles somebody last night, and then they go out on Tryon Street and they sitting on Tryon Street with a guitar saying, I strangled so-and-so last night, and police ain't gonna catch me because they don't know, but I strangled and name the person. They got a right to use that person's statement against him.
Yeah, but
it's in a song, but I mean, it's still a statement, an admission that you did something that was criminal. But that's not going to be the only evidence. They still go back and they take fingerprints. They find out where you were. They gather evidence about how the crime was committed and corroborate that with your activities and all that. It's not the only evidence, but you can't go out here making statements that you committed a crime if you committed a crime. That's because police are always going to use that against you.
I got that point. And I think most of the people in the culture and that are hip hop fans understand that. That's why they're saying, hey, stop posting stuff and stop doing all these things. What I'm drilling in on is just that it is a music genre that is predominantly the highest selling, it's the highest grossing genre in the world. And 85% of that music is about violence and is about gang activity or representing a gang. And so what I'm saying right now is that to me starts to open a door of targeting. There's been all the way back to 50 Cent in 2003 talking about the hip hop police and that the police are at parties and stuff like that. And to your point, hey, yeah, they may be on the scene, but unless you give them some evidence, they can't pursue you.
Police, they're not sitting around watching MTV.
That's not true, Ken. That's not true. You've said that a couple times. That's not true. There are. You don't think that there's enforcement and departments that focus on hip hop?
The police get evidence.
Can you answer that question for me, please?
No, I mean, I've never heard of that.
That happens.
The police are typically, they'll get a tip or information about a crime being committed, and then they'll start an investigation. And then when they start an investigation, they gather evidence, and part of that evidence will be statements that the person who is being pursued or the suspect made. And if that evidence includes statements made in music or otherwise, if I think it would be a mistake to think that the police are not going to use that evidence against the person who's being charged. And I'm not saying that the police aren't aware that musicians are making statements about criminal activities. I'm sure they are. I'm saying that that's not typically how these things start. So I don't think there's I don't see a movement related to, I think it to me is kind of funny. If you committed crimes and you put that in your music and your videos, yes, you can expect more than likely eventually the police are going to probably use that and come after you. Yeah. If you don't want that to happen, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't be sitting here crying, the police coming after us because we committed crime, but we put it on videos. No, nobody want to hear that.
Yeah, but I think we're past that. I think I'm moving past that. I think everyone is in agreement that you you can't do a crime, post it on YouTube, and not expect to get arrested. I think everybody, even the...
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh,
I'm saying, but then don't cry and start talking about there's some movement out here because
I don't
the
know
police
about
are
that.
targeting musicians because they saying they committed crimes on their songs. I mean, don't do it.
So, okay, but that's the point, though. You're saying that those things are coupled together. What I am pointing out is the fact that majority of the music that is in hip hop is about crime activity, and that there is hip hop police. You said what now?
I don't think the majority of hip hop music is about criminal activity.
Well, you might not listen to hip hop then. I don't know what the last albums you listened to, but you and I can pull up the Billboard list right now and go through every rapper, and I can tell you what their songs are about.
You said hip hop.
Yeah, I just said hip hop.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, majority of that music talks about criminal activity, that we are in an era where there's a lot of gang activity and banging on wax, people throwing up signs, people like that. I'm saying, to my point is this, that I believe that opens the window for people to be targeted, for rappers to be targeted. And that's why this is a big response to these guys getting arrested. That's all I'm saying. I understand that the fact that, hey, if you did something and you say you did it on a record, they can put those things together. I'm asking you is, do police, you think they're going to target folks just by saying something on a record, whether they have evidence or not? Or are they going to go look for evidence?
I don't think that's the situation with this case.
I'm saying in general, not this case.
No, I'm saying you said that that's why they're looking at this case.
Why people are responding to this case.
And I'm saying even in this case, that's not what happened. So I don't see a situation where there's an effort to target artists.
That's happening
because
already.
Of what they're saying
That's happening already.
No, you can say that. But
no, I'm not saying that. I've heard rappers say it. That's what I'm saying to you.
But what I'm saying is, I do believe, however, if you do say those things in music, that it will be more than likely gathered by the police and used against you. But the targeting is the thing. I'm like I say, it may be happening. Maybe I'm oblivious to it. I've just not seen that wholesale.
Yeah, that's been a topic for a very long time about the hip hop police. All right. We good on that?
Yeah, we good. We good.
All right, what we talking about next? Tom Brady?
Yeah, Tom Brady got his money, got paid in full. He's going to get paid in full. So, you know, I mean, that's... all
right, let me read the story.
I know why it's done, but yeah, it's crazy.
So, Tom Brady will join Fox Sports as his lead NFL analyst when his playing career ends. So he already signed this deal, kind of sort of like Drew Brees did before he retired. Fox did not disclose the terms of Brady's deal, but the New York Post reported that the 7-time Super Bowl winning quarterback has agreed to a 10-year, $375 million contract, the most lucrative in sports broadcasting history. Ken, is he worth it?
TB has made the big TD. And you got to give him props because get that money, man. Now, Fox didn't have a choice. ESPN already has Troy Aikman locked up. They got the Mannings locked up. They got Monday Night Football. They rolling. I mean, Fox had to come up with a way to make a splash. And they did. So I got to give them props. Tom Brady is a natural next man up. Mm-hmm. When he retires, people are going to watch. I'm going to watch. People are going to watch just because they want to hear what Tom Brady says. Now, what I have a question about is 10 years.
Yeah.
Now, because I like Tom Brady, but I've never heard him be a broadcaster. And I also don't, to be a broadcaster, you got to have a little bit of
you got to be engaging,
and also you got to be able to kind of, when people aren't playing right, you got to be able to say that.
Yeah.
You got to be able to be negative when people aren't handling their business on the field or in the front office. You've got to be able, you can't be a nice guy all the time to be a successful broadcaster. I wonder whether or not Tom Brady is going to be boring after a year or a year and a half or 2 years. So, I mean, we'll see. That's a big, long time bet. I wonder, I almost wondered when I saw the deal whether it was like football deals where part of it was guaranteed and part of it was not, because if it's fully guaranteed, boy, that's a big bet on somebody you don't know can actually do the job,
You know, you made me think about something, and I'm gonna piggyback off of it. You said you don't know if he's gonna be boring. You got a good point there. You know, I haven't heard, you know, Tommy talk a lot, you know, besides his interviews. He's very well spoken, but like you said, there's a difference in doing interviews and things of that nature, and the magic of holding an audience attention throughout a game. I think he's going to be bored. It's just hard for me. And now I'll say this: it's only 3 hours. It's only 3 hours a week. I think he's going to also be a brand ambassador for Fox or something like that, or Fox Sports, I should say. But I don't believe he's going to do it that long.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But I mean, it's a big deal. And you know, as I'm like, bored or not, with that type of money, you put on a happy face, you go in there and handle your business. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know whether or not Tom Brady has the grit to make me excited when I'm watching the game.
Mm-hmm.
See, Troy Aikman has like a little something in him. I don't know what it is.
It's the voice. It's something about his voice. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta have a voice. Like Joe Buck has a voice. Troy has a voice. Even John Madden, Pat Summerall, they have voices. Tommy don't do that.
And the Mannings kind of use humor a little bit but I don't know where. I'm trying to figure out what Brady has that's going to keep me engaged, or when something doesn't necessarily go right on the field, he can't use humor or that grit that Aikman has to say, "Yeah, that was a dumb play," or they didn't run the right route, or you know, they didn't handle their business on the blocking scheme. You know, I'm just wondering. I've never seen Brady roll like that, so it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, the last thing I'll say on this is, you know, of course, he knows everything about offenses and defenses and all that kind of stuff. So we know he has a wealth of knowledge. So I think he's going to be great in that aspect, like Tony Romo. Tony Romo was a big surprise to everybody. Like, I had no idea he was going to be as good as he's been so far.
Yeah. So quarterbacks have some success as broadcasters, and no question about that. So we may find out he's the best of all time. Certainly is the best of all time in football. So, yeah.
All right, man. Go ahead and do your segue, man.
Man, ain't no segue tonight, man. I will say USS, what the thing say? EJ stat of the night, unsullied by sponsorship. Well, we sponsoring our own stuff.
Yes, sir.
It's our company.
Let's do that.
USSSA is our Social Security company. Me and Jay talked about Social Security early on in the podcast.
First episode. If you're out there, you're hurting, you need somebody to help you out, contact USSSA. That's us. We handling that business out there, helping our people get what they need in terms of Social Security benefits. Now, that was a commercial. We'll move past that and get to this top 5. You know, we done had some sweet top 5s, man. This is the best one, though.
You made this one tough, dog.
It was tough for me as well.
Yeah, so, you know, I don't know. Since you brought it up, you start off, man.
You want me to tell you about what we're doing? All right.
Yeah.
We are doing the top 5. I got that smoke for Ken tonight, too. Top 5 greatest R&B albums of all time.
You put my glasses on.
Please do, because you need to see everything that you saying right now.
I always win this segment.
And I went first last week, so you going first this week.
Nah, man, come on now.
Yeah. And so let me say this: top 5 greatest R&B albums of all time. All right,
you making me go first on that.
Yeah, man, you got to go first, dog. So
my list is unquestionable. Oh. You can't even question this, right? You said top 5 R&B.
See,
you fell up. If you had said hip hop, we were arguing about hip hop. I almost fell out and had to stop the show earlier. But you said R&B. When you went to R&B, you fell up into my generation. Okay. Dog. So let me give you this first top, number 5.
Yes, sir.
It ain't no. Don't you dare. Write no comments under the thing.
He'll be like, that's whack.
Anything about my list.
Okay.
This 5 is number 5 legit all time. Forever, for always, for love. Luther Vandross. Forever, for always, for love. This changed, man. I don't even know what to say, man. When this album came out, it just changed the way my evenings went. And I'm talking about I ain't talking about that. But Bad Boy, Forever, for Always, for Love, Better Love, She Loves Me Back. These were things, man, that reach way inside of you, dog. Once you know how, you just never forget how to love. Come on, man. Number 5, Forever, For Always, For Love.
And what was the hit songs on that album?
Man, I ain't gotta repeat.
Bad Boy. That was a joint.
People
Bad Boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else?
Since I Lost My Baby.
Since I lost my baby.
Better love, better love.
You could have kept that one.
Once you know how. Oh, man, come on, man. You could just, that's one of them albums, man, back in the day, you could just put it on and play the whole thing.
I don't believe that.
Whether you out there on the patio or whether
I don't believe that.
You see my man
LG like
shaking his head.
Okay, all right. It's Luther. I'm going to let you rock.
You could put that whole album on, and whether you're on the patio or in the bedroom.
Okay.
Just let it play.
Okay. You can ride either way. You ain't got no skips.
Man,
no skips on that album.
Ain't no skips.
All right, you said you got slow on that.
You see what LG doing?
Okay, all right, cool.
Everybody out there know. Ain't no misses on that album.
All right, number 5. What's the 411? Mary J. Blige. No skips. Reminisce. Real Love. What's the 411? If loving you is all that I have to do. Hey, with KC, listen, dog, straight smoke. Her and Puff Daddy, not Diddy. Her and Puff Daddy, shut it down. You can let that play. Everything that I'm saying is front to back, side to side. You ain't got to do nothing, dog. Just put it in on your playlist and let it rock. What you got? Number 4.
It's funny you bring out What's the 411 because I was trying to figure out which one, because Mary didn't make my list.
I know,
but my life.
It's a smoker. It's a smoker.
My life was close.
It was.
So there was a battle between What's the 411 and My Life with Mary because both of them could have made a top 5.
All right, I'm some respect. We got some respect going on tonight.
For real, dog. Oh. But that number 4, you can't question this number 4, y'all.
Okay.
You're my lady. D'Angelo and Brown Sugar.
What's that? Voodoo? What album is that?
Brown Sugar, dog.
Brown Sugar is the name of the album?
Yep. Cruising.
Brown Sugar.
And Lady.
That's the only songs he got on that album.
Hey, look, that's enough, man.
Come on, man.
And Lady, for me, and it's funny because I was looking at a lot of the top 5s that are in the media. Yeah. Top 5 R&B. D'Angelo was, this album was routinely in their top 10s. But I've got it in my top 5 just because Lady is my favorite song, probably my favorite song of all time. And Brown Sugar, but this was a groundbreaking album that was unlike any sound that you had before it. And so that's why it was such a popular album. So my number 4 is D'Angelo with Lady. Yeah.
D'Angelo is strong. His first album is great. So I'm going to let you ride on that. I ain't going to go too hard on that. Now we going to get thick, though, after this. We're going to get thick after this. We're going to see what you really talk about. Yeah. All right, my number 4. See, for me, I respect the era where everything came together. All your song titles, your album cover, your music videos, your tour, everything came together sonically and synergetically. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
All right. Number 4, Heartbreak, New Edition, Any Heartbreak. I'm talking about what Can You Stand the Rain, Boys to Men, Crucial, Supernatural, and If It Isn't Love. Dog, I can keep going. Like, that whole album banging, and the videos banging.
Yeah. Didn't make my top 5. That's a strong. My number 3,
Earth, Wind, Fire.
Maxwell's Urban Hang Suite. With a little something mixed up in there. Whenever, Ascension.
Yeah.
But look, we were representing an artist at that time named Keno Watson. So Graham and I got a chance to hang out when Keno, Maxwell, there was an artist named Puff Johnson. Was it the Fugees? It come out then? All of them went out at the same time. Yeah.
96.
So we were working with Sony Records and Columbia during that time and had a chance. But when the Cops Come Knocking came out, again, one of those songs that was so different than what anybody else had ever done before that. Maxwell went crazy. Sony had this plan to promote like 4 or 5 different artists, and Maxwell was one of them. But when that came out, it was over. It was all Maxwell.
Yeah. How's when the cops come knocking?
When the cops come knocking, I can't sing it.
God, dog. Listen. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, I was just gonna say on Mother's. It's so crazy you say this, man. On Mother's Day, I had my wife and my son and our other cousin in there, little cousin that's his age, and my father-in-law. And something just told me to go ahead and put Maxwell on as we was riding to dinner. And man, I was sitting there. You talking about verses the last time we talked? I was like, boy, Maxwell had the game on lock for a minute, dog.
Yep, and that's a common thread on my list is albums that didn't sound like things before them. Kind of were groundbreaking. So yeah, Maxwell's my number 3.
All right, for me, it's about these joints is the greatest song, greatest albums you ever heard. They broke all records. They about a ghost.
You got the Beatles on it?
Yeah, nah, they ain't R&B though. Number 3, Off the Wall, Straight Smoke.
Yeah.
Rock With You. Is it Rock? Rock With You. Dog. Lady in My Life. Girlfriend. Hey, dog.
You gotta find your
dog.
Yeah, that was good.
Listen, man. Off the Wall. I think Working Day and Night is on there too, man. It's crazy.
Working Day and Night, boy. That was strong out there during that song.
Hey,
yeah.
Dog.
Yeah.
Sold like 10 million gazillion records.
Yeah.
Off the Wall.
He made Mike super. I mean, that's when Mike really became a superstar.
That's
man.
right.
When he put that Off the Wall.
The second time, he was already a star when he was Ben.
Yeah.
ABC.
Yeah, the second time.
Yeah, the second time he was the GOAT.
All right, man. Let me go ahead and do this.
Get tight, dog. Get tight.
Number 2. This is gonna surprise some people out there. Again, don't be putting no negative comments out there.
Right.
But my number 2 R&B album of
Billy
all
Preston.
time. Nothing from that. No, just kidding. Is Don't Be Cruel, Bobby Brown. My Prerogative, Ronnie, Every Little Step, Rock With You, all on one album.
Yeah.
It made Bobby Brown a superstar. He broke away from your boys' New Edition.
Sure did.
They were like, yo, we gonna see what happens with Bobby, but he wasn't playing. He bought that fire from the beginning, blew it completely up. I know y'all surprised. Y'all expect Michael Jackson and all that in my top 5 and all that. No, he said R&B. I'm going straight R&B. Don't Be Cruel is my number 2.
Listen, Don't Be Cruel. Listen, in 8th grade, I thought I was Bobby Brown. I had the little haircut, man. I could dance like him. What was it? Heart and Soul was his dances. Me and my best friend G, we used to dance like them, man. Like that was the height of me dancing. So that whole record, man, like just it gave you a little nostalgia. I go on that. That's a strong.
Man, every brother out there wanted a tenderoni, man. We all want a tenderoni.
Truth about a Ronnie. Okay,
Truth
all right.
about a Ronnie, dog.
Listen, man, let me tell you something. Number 2, listen, dog. When people start getting real on records, I'm talking about real on records. To your point, where you ain't really hear stuff like this on records, dog. Confessions by Usher, dog. Yeah. From Confessions, he talk about everything I'm doing is all bad. I got a chick on the side, a crib and a ride. Like I'm talking about every time I was in LA, I was with my ex-girlfriend, dog. And then Confessions too, where he talking about I got a baby, I got one on the way, bro. I got one on the way, man. You got Caught Up on there. You got Superstar. You got
Superstar is one of my favorite.
That's one of my favorite songs, man. It's it's one of those songs where you like, you think about how you like being a kid and loving music and posters on your wall. Like that's what the kind of feeling it gives me. Confessions. Usher is Usher today. He's doing a residency in Vegas because of that album. So Confessions. Number 2, greatest.
I'll be your groupie, baby. I like that, man. All right, this is where I had the heartburn about the R&B stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
And I gave my number 1 a pass.
Okay.
And I could have given Michael Jackson a pass too, but the album was so good I had to put it here.
Okay.
And y'all would criticize me for calling this an R&B
album,
but it's Purple Rain is my number 1. I had to go with Purple Rain, Baby I'm a Star, Computer Blue, I Would Die For You, and all that.
Hold up, you don't have Michael Jackson in your top 5?
Michael Jackson ain't in my top 5, man. But now, you said top albums. Now, if you had said top R&B artists of all time, that would have been a different discussion. But these are my top 5 R&B albums of all time. Yeah.
So there's one person I don't even argue. Besides, there's 2 people I don't argue: Jay-Z and Michael Jackson. The greatest album, not even R&B album, pop album, greatest assemble of music on one offering is by the greatest entertainer to ever walk Earth. His name is Michael Joseph Jackson, and that's Thriller. Billie Jean is on that album. Thriller is on that album. Beat It is on that album. Dog, PYT is on that album. Like, listen, man. Thriller, the greatest R&B album ever made.
All right, man. I give you props for that. And you got two MJs in your top 5. I ain't mad at that. I want to throw out a couple of honorable mentions on my side.
Okay, I did that too. I'm sorry.
First one on my end is Forever My Lady by Jodeci. I'm still waiting. Stay, come and talk to me, Forever My Lady. And you know, look, let's be for real. We from Charlotte. We from Charlotte, North Carolina. They made us all proud. They did, man. They sure did, man. Come and talk to me. But when they hit that, man, you just felt good to be from Charlotte. Yeah. Felt good that them young fellas handled their business.
They did.
So my first honorable mention is Jodeci.
Man, I wanted to put that on the list so bad, man, but it didn't even make my honorable mentions, dog. Yeah. It's 2 albums, dog. I'm gonna go with the one. Don't Be Cruel, man. It's so incredible. I had it in my top 5, man. But I'm gonna tell you, I gotta give you some. The Any Heartbreak knocked it off for me. For me, it did, man. Just because, man, like that album, it was hard, man. Don't Be Cruel. That's my honorable mention. You got one more?
I got one more, man. And this is props to my boy Kadar Massenberg.
Who that?
Frat brother. Who produced this album.
Oh snap!
Baduism.
For real?
Yeah.
You know somebody worked on that album?
No, we know the guy who found Erykah Badu. That's our boy, Kadar.
Damn, no, man, you gotta tell him something.
Yeah, and he found D'Angelo too. I mean, so Kadar, me and Graham used to hang out with Kadar quite a bit.
That's what's up.
He went to law school at UNC Chapel Hill. Was I think 1L when I was a 3L frat brother. So yeah, he found both Erykah Badu and he found D'Angelo and did both of their deals and started both of their careers. But Baduism, again, an album that sounded unlike anything else before it. Rimshot, On and On, Other Side of the Game.
Lifetime.
But that's what I was about to say. Next Lifetime, to me, is one of the most meaningful songs you're ever going to find. And it's about,
I got chills, man.
I met you, you might be that right dude. I got to see you next lifetime. I already got a relationship. If that don't hit you and strike you, nothing will. So Baduism is my second honorable mention.
Man, that girl said, maybe we'll be butterflies. No, listen, Ken, listen, man, you took me back, man. Other Side of the Game.
Other Side of the Game
came out when I was still a senior in high school. But by the time I went to college, the whole album had come out, man. And when I tell you everybody played that album, every girl's dorm room you went in, they were playing that album, man.
Watch out.
Like that was it, man. I fell asleep many a night listening to Baduism.
Wait a minute, you see how you put that together? It's in every girl's room, but I fell asleep many a night listening to that. Didn't say it was in the fella's room or in his room. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I got one more honorable mention.
Yeah.
Okay, it's my turn. My bad. I got lost for a minute. Listen, man. Something needs to be said. One of the greatest R&B albums of all time that didn't make the list, but could have. There's a couple spots that I could have taken, could have replaced it with. 12 Play by R. Kelly. He's canceled right now. But when you talk about, he's canceled.
Hey man, the screen right now, LG.
No, you out. You out. They got the tattoo though. Okay. So, but
he had his segment by himself.
I got you. I don't listen. You can put the little light on me and let me do my soliloquy. He's wrong. He's canceled. All of that. But 12 Play is arguably the greatest R&B album ever assembled. From Your Body's Calling to the actual song 12 Play to everything on that front, back, side to side, 12 Play. And I could have went to TP too, but I ain't do that. But 12 Play, man, I had to do it. I'm sorry. Y'all forgive me? Yeah. I ain't even gonna pray. Y'all forgive me.
Let me get this thing back on track. Johnny McClurkin, Fred Hammonds. We gotta do something to balance this thing right here. Now, if you gonna go.
Listen, man. I had to say it.
Okay. Saint is just a sinner who fell down, dog. I ain't mad at you.
Ain't got up.
I ain't mad at you. So we good.
Man, the first time I heard that song, man, I was like, I thought that was a jazz song. I was like, man, what song? I ain't never heard this joint before.
Yeah. No, hey, man, look, I tell you, it's so unfortunate, the whole situation.
What you talking about?
Or the R. Kelly situation. So, but you can certainly bifurcate his music from what's happening to him. So if you just talking about the music, you had him on your honorable mention.
I did.
I feel you like that. Yeah. So maybe we'll do the top 5 gospel albums next week to kind of get us back on track. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, this is a fun list, dog. This is a fun list. You didn't do as bad as I thought you was gonna do.
Yeah, but I did not want to put Prince number 1.
I don't
just
because
that's kind of that R&B thing. But Purple Rain, boy, that changed some lives, dog. That changed some lives.
So hold up, Purple Rain is your greatest R&B album of all time.
I'm gonna tell you what makes it so bad, Jay. Wow. It wasn't like it was close. I mean,
what you mean?
I'm looking at the innovation of the music, the impact on society.
What was the impact on? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, you talking about Purple Rain?
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Come on, man. Well, I don't even have to discuss the impact that Purple Rain. Man, I think Purple Rain was very much like Thriller in terms of how it changed people's lives. But you have to also say, of course, Purple Rain combined with the movie Purple Rain is what changed people's lives and direction and made Prince very Michael Jackson-like, to be real with you, in terms of the music industry. So, I went with it. The little question with him and MJ I have is whether or not it's purely what we think about when we say R&B. So that's why I had a little bit of anxiety,
Yeah, they're pop records, pop albums. Listen, Thriller sold 160 million records, literally.
Yeah.
Literally is in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and apologies to folks like Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, I tried.
Marvin Gaye.
I tried.
And some of the old school artists, man.
Earth, Wind and Fire.
EWF could have been on the list. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, apologize to them, but this was the top 5 right here.
Yeah. My only issue with some of those albums I tried, they just had songs that were so huge on those albums, but they didn't make it. One thing I thought about, and I was like, I don't know if it's R&B, and we can wrap up. Curtis Mayfield, the song with it was a soundtrack.
Superfly.
Yeah, like
Shaft. Isaac Hayes' Shaft. That soundtrack.
Yeah.
So, it was a lot back in the day, man. And the one that I have the most anxiety about as we move on is Whitney Houston.
Okay.
Because to me, that was also one of those life-altering moments when you had somebody emerge and they just became a magnificent superstar for all time.
Yeah.
That Whitney Houston album was incredible.
Yeah.
And so, all apologies to her for her not being on the list.
R.I.P. Whitney, man.
Yeah, that's it. So that's a good man. Another good night, dog.
Good night, man. We didn't fight over that list, man. We didn't go too hard on each other, man. It was hard. Those artists and those albums are so good that it's interchangeable.
Oh yeah. You could, man. We might do another top 5, different top 5 tomorrow. Depending on how you feeling.
Yeah.
Well, all right, man. AJ, my brother,
my guy,
my man. Yes, sir.
Another one in the books, man. Y'all be sure to like and subscribe. Comment, man. Attorney Ken Harris talking about y'all need to comment. What's y'all top 5? Let us know.
Yeah, let us know, dog, and we'll meet you here next week in the Black Court.
See you next time.
Peace.
Yeah.